What's up, good people?
What's up, good people, and welcome to the Elephant Wisdom Podcast. I am your host, Jos L, CEO of Sons of SP Phillips, and the Elephant Wisdom Podcast is your podcast. This is your podcast for motivation, inspiration, and domination, so make sure to dominate or don't. That is up to you. Make sure to like, follow, and or subscribe, depending on whatever platform you're listening from. And also follow us on social media at Sons of SPP. That's on IG and that's on Facebook. And follow our TikTok page, our content page at SPP Media. There you'll see a lot of our content, a lot of our promotional stuff, and some of our affiliated podcasts and other things that we got going on. I want to take a moment today to slow things down and talk about mental health, because May is Mental Health Month, and this feels like just as good a time as any and the right time to just check in. Now, we're not going to do anything big as far as production or promotion. We're just having a real conversation today. The kind of conversation that you'd have with someone you trust when the day finally settles. So before we begin this conversation, I have to let you know this episode is brought to you by Sons of SP Phillips. Sons of SP Phillips is an online boutique that sells new and slightly used designer and name brand clothing for men and women, custom t-shirts and fashion accessories. Go to www.sonsofspphillips.com. Up to 70% off in savings every day. Any orders over $45 means I pay for the shipping. Shipping is free. So go to www.sonsofspphillips.com today to kind of see what we have going on, inspired by the people, motivated by the culture. In case you didn't know, life recently has been very heavy for a lot of people. Not due to fear, and we're not even trying to stroke any fear, but because of the constant pressures that comes with the world we're living in right now today. Prices keep rising, gas is noticeably high, the economy shifts every few months, and the politics, they're just getting louder and more exhausting every day. And all of this sits on top of the responsibilities that you already carry. This builds quietly. You keep moving and you don't always notice how much weight that you're carrying or that you picked up along the way. Oftentimes you don't realize how much you've been holding onto some of this weight until you actually slow down long enough till you feel it. You feel the pressure on your shoulder. That's what this moment is for. Giving yourself space and room to breathe. Every year we see the standard social media posts and corporate graphics about this month, but mental health isn't a separate abstract medical category meant only for certain moments of extreme crisis. It is the baseline of how we experience our lives every single day. It affects how we make breakfast, how we respond to difficult emails, and how we sleep at night. And today, we are looking at the practical realities of managing our minds and finding where to look if we need extra support. Now, a lot of you adults move through their days without stopping to see how you're actually doing. Constantly stay in motion because life doesn't pause. You handle what needs to be handled. You show up because people depend on you. And after a while, the signs of stress blend into your normal routine. And you might feel tired in a way that rest just doesn't fix it anymore. And you also may feel a disconnect from things or even people that you normally enjoy. Almost like being present, but you're not fully there. And you might notice your patience isn't what it used to be. These are reminders that you've been carrying a lot of weight on your shoulders. A lot of popular advice makes it sound like mental health is a simple puzzle to solve. That if you just buy the right daily planner or wake up earlier, everything gets fixed. But our brains are deeply affected by our environments. When you feel anxious or depleted, it usually isn't a sign that you are broken. It is a natural response to prolonged stress. Instead of trying to fix yourself, the goal is just noticing when your internal stress levels are climbing and adjusting your day before you completely burn out. And if you want grounded information about how stress shows up, Mental Health America has helpful resources you can read at your own pace. You can find those specific screening tools and guidelines on mhanational.org. A lot of us come from different backgrounds, communities, and cultures. Many of us grew up learning to keep things to ourselves. You handle your business and you don't talk about stress or burnout. You never ask for help and you just keep going. That mindset has followed you all the way into adulthood. You become the person people rely on. You become the one who holds everything and everyone together. And after a while, you start believing that needing support means you could be failing everyone or nothing will work unless you do it. But being honest with yourself is part of being strong. Saying that you're overwhelmed and taking a break before you hit a wall is part of being strong. You deserve support just as much as the people you support. Now, keeping all the pressures locked inside just causes it to bounce around and grow larger. The moment you verbalize it to someone you trust, the pressure will drop. It loses some of its power. Seeking support is a practical, smart, logistical step for your health, just like treating any physical injury. If you want to explore what support can look like, the National Alliance for Mental Illness at NAMI.org has great education programs, peer groups, and community resources for youth, new parents, and even veterans, and I highly advise you to take a look at that website. Mental health doesn't always announce itself. Most of the time, it shows up in small ways. The moments where you feel off or stretched thin or disconnected from yourself, and you might still be doing everything you're supposed to do, but something in you feels unsettled or worn down, and these moments really matter. They're often the first steps, the first signs that you've been carrying more than you realize. Recognizing these signs leads us to crucial steps. One of the most helpful things you can do this month is give yourself permission to take care of yourself. That might mean resting when you're tired or turning off your phone. It might mean asking someone at work to handle a task for you. You don't have to feel guilty about it or justify to anyone on why you might need some space. You're human. Trust me, your people in the world can survive without you for one day or even a weekend. There are a few things that can help when life is heavy. You have to check in and support yourself. And however you choose to do that, which doesn't include something illegal, intoxicating, or dangerous, here at Sons of SP Phillips, we are all for it. So let's start by moving your body. Even if it's just a 10-minute walk, just to change your perspective and lower your cortisol levels. Bike riding has always been a great reliever of stress for me. Giving your mind deliberate breaks from the constant digital noise and notifications that keep your nervous system on edge. Make it a priority to stay away from social media, please. Content creators are not your personal therapist, and you are not theirs. And of course, talking to a professional if you need clarity or some grounding. If you prefer learning quietly before talking to anyone, the JED Foundation has solid mental health education and emotional support resources available at jedfoundation.org. And at the same time, if someone in your life is struggling, the most helpful thing you can do or offer is your presence. You don't have to fix anything. You don't need to perfect words, or you don't need the perfect words or a 5-step solution. Sometimes people just need a space where they can talk without feeling judged or rushed. Validation is an incredibly powerful tool. As we move through Mental Health Month, take a moment to check in with yourself. You do not have to handle everything perfectly. You don't have to have your whole life figured out by the end of this month. Just focus on the day. You're allowed to take care of yourself. You're allowed to slow down. You're allowed to feel what you feel. And you're allowed to heal at your own pace. You matter. Your well-being matters. Your peace matters. You deserve to feel steady and supported. Take care of yourself this month. And if you need support, reach out. This is the Elephant Wisdom Podcast, and I'm your host, Jos L, CEO of Sons of SP Phillips. Always remember that the Elephant Wisdom Podcast is your podcast for motivation, inspiration, and domination. Amongst all things, don't forget to pray along the way. Thanks for sitting down with us today. We will talk again soon.